Hello, and welcome back to Learning Canadian English, the podcast that helps you navigate the language and culture of Canada. I'm your host, Mark.
And I'm Sarah. It's great to be with you all today. Mark, we're approaching a very green and festive day on the Canadian calendar.
We certainly are. We're talking, of course, about St. Patrick's Day, which falls on March 17th. It's a day many Canadians celebrate whether they have Irish heritage or not.
Exactly. So today we're going to dive into the history of St. Patrick's Day in Canada, how it's celebrated from coast to coast, and we'll even cover some key vocabulary to help you join in the conversation.
Sounds like a plan. So where do we start? Should we go back to the man himself, St. Patrick?
Let's do it. It's a great place to start because there are a lot of misconceptions. For instance, St. Patrick wasn't actually Irish. He was born in Roman Britain in the late 4th century.
Oh, interesting. So how did he become the patron saint of Ireland?
According to legend, he was kidnapped by Irish pirates at the age of 16 and taken to Ireland as a slave. He eventually escaped, but he returned later in his life as a missionary to spread Christianity. The day, March 17th, actually marks the day of his death.
Right. So it started as a religious feast day. How did it make its way to Canada and become the big celebration we see today?
That's tied directly to Irish immigration. Irish people have been coming to Canada for centuries, but the largest waves were in the 19th century, especially during the Great Famine. These immigrants brought their traditions with them.
And that influence is huge. Did you know that nearly 14% of Canadians claim some Irish ancestry? That's about 4.6 million people.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that high. That makes sense then why the day is so widely recognized here. Canada even has a very special claim to fame when it comes to St. Patrick's Day parades.
You're talking about the one in Montreal, right?
Exactly. The Montreal St. Patrick's Day Parade has been running uninterrupted since 1824. It's one of the oldest and largest in all of North America. The city's flag even features a shamrock to represent the Irish contribution to its history.
Since 1824. That's incredible. And Montreal isn't the only place with a deep connection. In Newfoundland and Labrador, St. Patrick's Day is actually an official public holiday.
That's right. The province has very strong Irish roots, and it's one of the few places outside of Ireland where the day is a statutory holiday, meaning many people get the day off work.
And it's not just the big provinces. The influence is felt even in smaller communities. I was reading about the Miramichi region in New Brunswick, which has one of the highest percentages of Irish ancestry in Canada. They have a whole Irish festival that lasts for several days.
Okay, so we've got the history. Let's talk about how Canadians celebrate today. I think the first and obvious thing is wearing green.
Oh, absolutely. You'll see green everywhere. Green shirts, green hats, even green face paint. There's a playful tradition that if you don't wear green, you might get a little pinch from someone.
Right, a friendly pinch. And of course, there are the parades. We mentioned Montreal, but major cities like Toronto and Vancouver also host massive parades with floats, marching bands, and dancers. They're big community events.
And it really is a coast-to-coast celebration. It's not just the big central Canadian cities that go all out.
That's right. In St. John's, Newfoundland, and Labrador, the celebrations are legendary, deeply tied into the local culture. And out on the prairies, cities like Calgary and Edmonton have growing traditions with family-friendly events and parades that reflect the diverse Irish heritage in that part of the country. They are. And some cities take the going green theme to a whole new level. You might see fountains with green water or major landmarks lit up in green lights for the night.
That's always fun to see. Of course, we can't talk about St. Patrick's Day without mentioning the pubs. Irish pubs across Canada are packed on March 17th.
They're the heart of the celebration for many. You'll hear live traditional Irish music, see Irish dancing, and of course, enjoy some Irish food and drinks.
Let's talk about the drinks. You often hear about green beer. For our listeners, what is that? It's not a special kind of Irish plant, is it?
No, it's not. It's simply a light-colored beer, like a lager or a pale ale, with a few drops of green food coloring added. It's just a novelty, a fun, festive thing to do.
A novelty, right. And for those who prefer something more traditional, there's always a pint of Guinness, the famous Irish stout.
Of course. What about food? What kind of dishes are popular on St. Patrick's Day in Canada?
A very popular dish is corned beef and cabbage. It's interesting because while it's heavily associated with the holiday, it's more of an Irish American and, by extension, Irish Canadian tradition than something people in Ireland would typically eat.
Right. More traditional would be something like Irish stew, which is made with lamb or beef, potatoes, carrots, and onions. You'll find that in many pubs and restaurants as well.
And soda bread, it's a dense, delicious bread made with baking soda instead of yeast, perfect for dipping in that stew.
And it's not just about the pubs and parades. St. Patrick's Day is also a big deal for families and children across Canada.
That's so true. In schools, kids might make shamrock crafts, bake green-colored cookies, or even try to build little traps to catch a leprechaun. It's a fun way to engage with the cultural aspects of the day without needing to be in a pub.
Definitely. This is making me hungry. Okay, this seems like a perfect time to switch gears and cover some essential St. Patrick's Day vocabulary for our listeners.
Great idea. Let's start with the most iconic symbol of the day, the shamrock. That's SHAMROCK.
Right. A shamrock is a young clover, specifically one with 3 leaves. As we mentioned earlier, legend says St. Patrick used its 3 leaves to teach about the Holy Trinity. It's now a symbol of Ireland, and you will see it everywhere.
Okay, next up is a leprechaun. LEPRACHAUN.
A leprechaun is a mischievous little fairy or elf from Irish folklore. They're typically depicted as old men dressed in green who spend their time making shoes and hiding a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
They're more of a modern commercial symbol of the holiday, but a very fun one. Let's do a phrase. How about the luck of the Irish?
Ah, yes. If someone says you have the luck of the Irish, it means you have extremely good fortune or luck. It's a very common expression.
It is. Here's a very important one for our learners concerning the name Patrick itself. It's the difference between Paddy and Patty.
Yes, this is a crucial tip. The correct shortened name for Patrick, which comes from the Irish name Padraig, is Paddy, spelled Paddy.
Right. You might see people incorrectly write St. Paddy's Day. Patty, with a T, is usually short for the female name Patricia. Or, as you might find at a barbecue, it's a hamburger patty. So remember, it's always Patty with a D.
A great point. And finally, a greeting you might hear is the Irish phrase sláinte. It's spelled Slainte with an accent over the A.
It's pronounced sláinte. It means health and is used as a toast, like saying cheers when you clink glasses with someone. Let's add one more word that people might hear, especially if there's live music involved. Ceilidh. That's Ceilidh.
Yes, a ceilidh is pronounced céilí. It's a traditional Gaelic social gathering, which involves playing folk music and dancing. If a pub advertises a ceilidh, you can expect a very lively and fun time. Sláinte. A perfect word to know if you find yourself in a Canadian pub on March 17th.
Well, I think that's a pretty comprehensive look at St. Patrick's Day in Canada. We've covered its deep historical roots here, from the first parades in Montreal to its holiday status in Newfoundland.
And we've looked at the modern celebrations, wearing green, enjoying parades, and gathering with friends and family for some good food and music.
And hopefully our vocabulary lesson will help our listeners feel confident joining in the festivities. The day is really a celebration of Irish culture and its significant contribution to the Canadian mosaic.
It absolutely is. It's a day for everyone to be a little bit Irish. So if you're in Canada on March 17th, put on something green and check out the local celebrations.
That's all the time we have for today on Learning Canadian English. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Join us next time for another episode. Until then, take care and happy learning.